the feature script was written first, and because I had no directing experience, we did a short film as a sort of proof of concept that had a really great life of its own. So actually the short was adapted from the feature. Yeah, so it's a bit unorthodox way of doing things.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions in the audience? Down here. Hey.
Amazing film and funny film, and a lot of the humor came from scenarios that are kind of absurd from people looking in on situations, but I venture to guess a lot of that actually happened. It wasn't so funny in that situation.
Not at the time, but in hindsight, it's hilarious.
How humor came into your process of creating a relationship?
I just don't think I could tell this story without having humor in it. I mean, looking back on it, I think it's so absurd, it's funny. I mean, yeah, like I said before, 80% of that happened to me, and it was I believed it all at the time, so I lived in Des Moines, Iowa, and I didn't know anyone who wasn't Catholic. I know that sounds absurd, but that's what my life was. And just to be able to grow up and experience sexuality in that environment, it was very bewildering and very terrifying at the time, and I felt guilty. I literally thought I was going to hell for masturbating with, many things. I was going to name some, and I was like, no, I'm not. Sorry. But yeah, cell phone, yes, swamp, no. Anyway. It was a really weird experience, and now the only way to just talk about it is that it's funny, but I hope the humor and the story, allows there to be a broader discussion about female sexual pleasure and women wanting and getting pleasure in their partners, giving it to them, and making it less taboo generally to see things like this.
And was this a camp that you went to?
Yes, so this is a real retreat called Kairos in real life. Has anyone here been on it? Okay. Last night I had like 5 people come up to me and say that they'd been on it, and a lot of our local casts had been on it, and my 2 producers, Katie and Colleen, went on it. Eleanor Columbus, another producer, had been on it. It's a real retreat that a lot of people go on, and it's insanely fucked up. And I'm really glad that it's part of the film, because I want more people to know about how fucked up it is.
Yeah, it seemed like you were trying to dismantle like all of the Christian recreational.
I mean, I definitely want to poke fun of Catholicism as much as possible, because there's a lot of glaring contradictions in it. I mean, a lot of this film is about realizing the adults in your life do things that go against what they've told you to do. I understand also that not all Catholics are bad, and I don't think all the Catholics in this film are bad. Like, I think our parents are really sweet and have good intentions, and the Catholic Church isn't all terrible. I mean, they're like 90% terrible. But they also raise a lot of money and do philanthropic things, so, yeah.
Any more questions in the audience? Right back there.
Yeah, similar to the biographical part, just what was it like directing someone in a character that was based off you, and what was it like playing someone who was based off a real person?
I'll start and then I'll hand it to Natalia. For me, when I was writing it, it was based off my own experiences, but when Natalia came on board for the short and then the feature, she really brought her own life to the character, and it became a fictional character for sure. It was based on my experiences, but it's not me. I would never have made out with a guy at 17. Never. I never would have jumped on a guy ever. So it was fun to allow Natalia to come on and breathe some new life into this character. And I'll let you answer the other question.
Yeah, I'd say it was a lot of talking and collaborating. It wasn't exactly a biopic. But yeah, I think there's just a lot of good conversations and understanding about who this girl was and just the experiences. And I mean, it's an experience that a lot of people experience differently. Everyone's individual, but I do think in the end what came out of it was something that I think and I hope is pretty relatable for young girls, especially young girls in a certain setting, like Alice's setting. But yeah, it was fun. She's great, and
I think what was so interesting for me as the character is that she kind of doesn't change that much. She just gets more her sexual urges. She gets more confident, and she's almost sociopathic in a way, which is pretty amazing. I'd say. And then she just like embraces it at the end, which is like totally cool, and you rarely see, you know. Like usually there's like she does change a little bit, but it was like really nice that like she's kind of doing the same thing through the whole film in a way, which is she just has more confidence doing it. I don't know if that was like a really bold choice of yours.
I mean, in the end, when she's like framing the guy who is shared in the rumor of the tossing of the salad, she's doing something malicious, but I think she's earned it. I think she has been the butt of this rumor and like getting all the shame for it, and he meanwhile is getting off very easily. I think the character has remorse at the end, and then she gives the speech to sort of free him from the rumor as well. But I just feel like he kind of deserves it.
We shot an alternate ending where she takes like a bike lock and like padlocks the door and sets the building on fire with all of the other characters in it. But it didn't test well. And it was sort of between those two, and this is obviously what you saw on the screen tonight is what they went with, and I didn't agree with it, and I let that go. It's no problem. I sent the notes, I fractured our relationship, but here we are.
Are there, yeah.
I love the mid-90s references, like everything from ASL to songs. How much were those favorites of yours, or just in the making as they came into the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up when like cybersex was like a new thing, and like you'd gather around with your friends and like do it, and then you'd like have dinner with your family, and you'd be like, I can't eat because I just had cybersex and I feel disgusting and horrible. And yeah, also like my friends would come over, and then their parents would be like, I tried calling you for an hour and the phone was busy, and then they'd come over and be like, what were you doing? We were having cybersex. So yeah, it was a big part of my adolescence. And yeah, the music was just a lot of our favorite songs. Me and Katie and Colleen, the producers, and Candy by Mandy Moore is just one of my faves. I'm so glad we can end the film with that, because I think it is also a little about masturbating. A little bit.
Any more questions? Yeah, right there.
Was the character, the woman you met in the bar, that conversation based off a real conversation that sort of shifted your perspective, or was that more so just for the story, like it felt like the right character for the moment?
Not the conversation necessarily. It was sort of a combination of many conversations. So the character's loosely based on a gay aunt that I have who lives in Michigan. And when I was really young, about like, I guess 11 or 12, she had a rainbow bumper sticker on her car. And I remember being like, I love rainbows, what's that? And she's like, it means diversity. And she couldn't go into more detail because my dad would have killed her. He's not like that anymore. But she was giving me like subtle hints throughout my adolescence that I feel like allowed me to feel like I could be different when I got older and not sort of be Catholic and Midwestern and conservative anymore. But the conversation definitely like didn't happen like that with my aunt. So a little bit of.
Any more questions out there?
Down here, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Where'd you end up going to college?
Sorry.
Where'd you end up going to college?
Oh, I went to the New School in New York,
Perfect.
by way of community college in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and a year in Columbia College, Chicago. I have a lot of debt.
And I'm curious about the cast. When you're like part of something that's, like we said earlier, that's so specific to her life, how did you engage with the parts, and like how did she inform you on the characters?
Well, I think for me, I just tried to keep it within the world that if this makes sense, like with the world that the script built, like the world that she built was pretty specific, and so I just tried to keep it within that. And so we didn't really I don't think we talked much about like the Father Murphy that may or may not have been in your life. We just kind of kept it to the world. Yeah, I think we just kind of talked about like sort of like Catholicism in general and what this might mean to him, because I don't have a lot of knowledge. I don't have like the base knowledge that Karen has. So that for me, that's what.
I remember telling you what